Tesla Semi was basically a money machine in the trucking industry, and that's exactly why so many major companies still want it, even though Tesla delivered it nearly a decade late, for the first time ever. A Class 8 truck hit a drag coefficient on par with a Bugatti Veyron, with operating costs of just 23 cents per mile. Its performance specs almost seem physically impossible for a typical electric truck. Recently, Elon Musk once again emphasized that Tesla Semi is so clean, cool, and fun. Everything has improved significantly with the refreshed version, and Jay Leno didn't hold back, saying the new model could wipe out diesel trucks. This updated version brings way more benefits than the previous one. Most people just don't realize it yet. As always, we respect your time. So let's get straight into the Tesla Semi 2026 update and the truth behind this so-called money machine. For over a century, diesel engines have dominated the trucking industry thanks to their superior power, durability, and reliability in almost all conditions. That's just an obvious fact anyone can see. However, we believe a shift is quietly happening. It's not fast, but it's definitely noticeable. What stands out isn't just more electric trucks showing up on the road, it's that major companies are starting to order electric trucks for their fleets instead of adding more diesel trucks like they used to. Tesla Semi is a perfect example. Heading into 2026, it already racked up close to 1,000 orders, right when Tesla is expected to begin mass production, and the new version is getting everyone excited. This isn't just a simple design tweak, it's basically a complete redefinition of economic efficiency and performance. To understand why Tesla Semi is such a profit machine for businesses, let's take a look at the numbers. In the trucking business, cost per mile is everything. It's basically a make-or-break metric. Traditional diesel trucks today run at about 80.5 cents per mile. Fuel makes up the biggest chunk of that cost, and it constantly fluctuates with global oil prices. Ongoing tensions like the US-Iran situation have made things even more unpredictable, with diesel prices hitting the second highest level in history, around $5.64 per gallon nationwide, and as high as $7.52 per gallon in places like California. This is exactly when major companies start seriously thinking about electric trucks like the Tesla Semi. With an energy consumption of about 1.7 kilowatt hours per mile and average industrial electricity prices around 18 cents per kilowatt hour, the Semi's fuel cost comes out to roughly 31 cents per mile, less than half of diesel. But the newer version does even better. According to data from Moen Transport, the Tesla Semi actually averages closer to 1.64 kilowatt hours per mile instead of 1.7. With current commercial electricity rates at about 14 cents per kilowatt hour, that puts operating energy costs at roughly 23 cents per mile. That's a massive direct saving, especially when a heavy-duty truck typically runs over 100,000 miles a year. On fuel alone, a single Semi could put an extra $24,000 per year back into a company's pocket. When compared to other electric trucks on the market, like those from Freightliner or Volvo, the Tesla Semi stands out thanks to its fully integrated electronic architecture. Most traditional manufacturers are still trying to electrify old diesel platforms, which leads to heavier vehicles and higher aerodynamic drag. The new Tesla Semi, as confirmed by Dan Priestley, has a drag coefficient of just 0.4, basically on par with the Bugatti Veyron. Keep in mind, at highway speeds, aerodynamic drag accounts for about 50 to 60% of total energy consumption. A typical diesel truck, with a drag coefficient between 0.6 and 0.8, has to burn significantly more energy just to push through the air. What that means is simple: with the same battery capacity, the Tesla Semi can go farther, or for the same range, it needs less battery. That reduces overall vehicle weight and increases payload capacity, which is a huge win for trucking economics. One of the biggest weaknesses of diesel trucks has always been their friction braking systems. When going downhill or driving in urban environments, the heat generated by braking doesn't just waste energy, it also wears out brake components quickly, leading to high maintenance costs and even safety risks like brake failure. Tesla Semi completely changes the game with its automatic regenerative braking system. As Jay Leno experienced, hauling over 20,000 pounds or up to 82,000 pounds gross weight feels surprisingly smooth. The system can recover around 70 to 80% of energy that would otherwise be lost and feed it back into the battery. This not only extends real-world range but also makes the brake pads last almost indefinitely. While diesel trucks need brake replacements every tens of thousands of miles, the Tesla Semi can save thousands of dollars in parts and, more importantly, reduce costly downtime in the shop. The Achilles heel of electric trucks has always been charging time. It would be an economic disaster if a truck had to sit around for 5 to 6 hours just to recharge. Tesla tackled this problem with its Megacharger network, delivering peak power of up to 1.2 megawatts. The ability to recover up to 60% of the battery in just 30 minutes is a true game changer. In the U.S. trucking industry, regulations require drivers to take breaks after several hours of continuous driving. That mandatory 30-minute break lines up almost perfectly with the Tesla Semi's charging time. What this means is that Tesla's electric trucks can operate nearly non-stop just like diesel trucks, eliminating one of the biggest concerns about supply chain disruptions. Compared to other electric trucks that typically charge at only 250 to 350 kilowatts, the Tesla Semi is about 4 to 5 times faster. That's a huge reason why orders keep growing, and by the end of the year, they could easily increase by several thousand more units. Ultimately, the biggest advantage comes down to long-term value. A diesel engine usually needs a major overhaul or replacement after around 300,000 to 500,000 miles. But with the Tesla Semi and its new 4680 battery technology, the target lifespan is up to 1 million miles.
The battery is designed to last 1 million miles.
Right.
You will see some degradation over time, but we see that it can last in its original duty cycle 1 million miles.
This was revealed in the episode with Jay Leno, with far fewer moving parts. No multi-speed transmission, no spark plugs, and no complex exhaust system. The Tesla Semi achieves an uptime rate of up to 95%. In the trucking business, every day a vehicle sits in the shop is a day of lost revenue. You know, the ability to operate reliably for over a decade without needing a battery replacement or major engine overhaul turns the Tesla Semi from a capital expense into a long-term profit-generating asset. When you own something that lasts twice as long as competitors while operating at just 60% of the cost, profitability isn't just a projection, it's inevitable. New Semi version really shows off Elon Musk's form follows function approach. Every detail has been refined based on real-world pilot programs with companies like PepsiCo and DHL, transforming the truck from a promising prototype into a true money-printing machine.
We cut about 1,000 pounds out of the truck. And this long-range truck, the 500-mile version, is about on par.
Tesla has managed to cut about 1,000 pounds from the vehicle compared to earlier prototypes. In trucking, curb weight is basically the enemy of profit. In the U.S., the maximum gross vehicle weight is typically capped at 80,000 pounds, but electric trucks get a slight advantage up to 82,000 pounds. So every pound you shave off the truck itself is a pound you can add in paying cargo. This weight reduction comes from optimizing the chassis and switching to advanced composite materials instead of heavier metal structures. More importantly, the shift to 4680 battery cells plays a key role. With higher energy density, Tesla can use fewer cells to achieve the same capacity, directly reducing overall weight. For fleet operators, being able to carry nearly an extra half-ton per trip, multiplied across thousands of trips per year, can translate into tens of thousands of dollars in additional revenue per truck. In the new version, traditional side mirrors are now paired with camera systems, partly to support the upcoming full self-driving for the Tesla Semi. The mirrors themselves also appear smaller, helping reduce aerodynamic turbulence around the cabin and cutting down wind noise that can fatigue drivers over long hauls. Previously, only the Cybertruck featured a 48-volt low-voltage architecture, but the refreshed Tesla Semi has now officially moved to a 48-volt system as well, replacing the older 12-volt and 24-volt setups. This upgrade allows for thinner, lighter wiring while delivering more power to external components. It not only better supports the massive dual touchscreen displays and safety sensors, but also lays the groundwork for a fully electric power steering system. Instead of using a bulky hydraulic system that's prone to leaks and wastes energy, the Tesla Semi's electric power steering delivers precise control with instant feedback. The actuators are heavily reinforced, making it easy to steer even when the truck is fully loaded. This significantly reduces driver fatigue on long hauls. When reports of a roughly $290,000 price tag for the long-range Tesla Semi surfaced earlier this year, many analysts were skeptical. That's nearly 60% higher than the original $180,000 estimate announced back in 2017 and about double the price of a standard diesel day cab, which typically ranges from $120,000 to $150,000. But focusing only on the upfront purchase price is a classic short-term thinking trap. In professional trucking, a vehicle isn't just a cost, it's a profit-generating tool. The record-high price of the Tesla Semi doesn't come from exclusivity. It comes from the massive amount of value packed inside it, especially the battery system. To achieve a real-world range of 500 miles under full load, the Semi needs a battery pack with an estimated capacity of around 850 to 900 kWh. Even though Tesla has pushed down the production cost of its 4680 cells to record lows, a battery pack that's roughly 14 times larger than the one in a Model Y still accounts for about 40 to 50% of the truck's total value. However, it's important to remember that this price includes technologies Diesel trucks will never have a 48-volt electronic steering system, a 1.2 megawatt mega-charging architecture, and most importantly, an advanced ADAS self-driving system with virtually unlimited over-the-air upgrades. When a company buys a Tesla Semi, they're not just buying a truck, they're investing in a technology platform that keeps getting smarter with every software update. As we've broken down, a Semi saves about 40 cents per mile compared to diesel, based on current electricity and fuel prices. On top of that, its simplified mechanical design cuts at least 50% of routine maintenance costs. No oil changes, no air filters, no complex exhaust treatment systems. Altogether, that adds up to roughly $30,000 to $40,000 in annual operating savings. With an upfront price difference of about $150,000, the Tesla Semi reaches break-even in roughly 3.5 to 4 years. After that point, every mile driven essentially becomes direct profit for the operator. For a truck designed to last up to 1 million miles over more than a decade, the remaining 6+ years after break-even become a true money-printing phase, delivering margins that no diesel truck on the market can match. And that $290,000 price tag becomes far more attractive when environmental incentives come into play. In places like California, programs such as HVIP offer subsidies of up to $120,000 per zero-emission truck, bringing the effective price of a Tesla Semi down to around $170,000. At that price point, the reality is that the Tesla Semi ends up costing only about $20,000 to $30,000 more than a diesel truck. With that gap, the break-even point can come in under 1 year of operation. That's exactly why major corporations like PepsiCo and Walmart are placing large orders. In fact, the Tesla Semi is effectively cheaper than other electric trucks on the market, such as the Freightliner e-Cascadia and the Volvo VNR Electric, both of which offer around 250 miles of range and can cost up to $450,000. And they're not doing this just for a green image. They're doing it because the long-term financials look incredibly strong. In regions with high diesel taxes and strong EV incentives, the Tesla Semi is no longer an experimental option. It becomes the economically inevitable choice. To be fair, the Tesla Semi isn't the perfect solution for everyone right now, especially independent owner-operators with limited capital and no dedicated charging infrastructure. But for large logistics companies with fixed routes and their own distribution hubs, the Semi is a strategic long-term investment for 3 key reasons. First, it's hard to ignore that a truck with a 1 million mile battery lifespan will have a much higher resale value than a diesel truck whose engine is worn out after 5 years. Second, electricity prices are far more stable than diesel prices, which are heavily influenced by global geopolitics. That makes long-term financial planning, 5 to 10 years out, much more predictable. Finally, as emissions regulations continue to tighten, owning an electric fleet helps companies avoid massive fines and potential restrictions on entering major cities in the near future. Tesla Semi has been listed by Elon Musk as one of the company's 3 key products this year, and it's supposed to start mass production by the end of the year, with a target of up to 50,000 units. Now, that's obviously a big ambition, a really big one considering the U.S. Class 8 truck market is only about 245,000 units a year. So if Tesla actually hits 50,000, they'd be grabbing close to a 20% market share right out of the gate. We don't think they'll get there, at least not this year or next. Right now, the semi-production line at the dedicated factory inside Gigafactory Nevada is basically up and running. Some images of the line suggest it's a highly automated setup running across the plant. That said, the project's history shows multiple delays from the original 2019 to 2020 timeline, then pushed to 2022, then 2024, and now 2026. Hitting 50,000 trucks this year is almost impossible, if not outright unrealistic. A new production line takes a lot of time to fine-tune, and there are always going to be issues early on, especially with a complex vehicle like the Tesla Semi. On top of that, the ramp-up phase usually runs into supply chain challenges, especially when it comes to batteries. As mentioned earlier, the Tesla Semi uses a massive battery pack, around 900 kWh, which requires a huge battery supply. Meanwhile, Tesla is still scaling up production of its 4680 cells and other battery types in Nevada. A more realistic estimate, in our view, would be somewhere around 5,000 to 10,000 semis produced this year. That number makes a lot more sense. Even though Tesla is focusing on depot charging, they're also aggressively rolling out green corridors along major highway routes. The new V4 superchargers are designed to deliver up to 1.2 megawatts of power, specifically for the Semi. We think Tesla is clearly trying to expand its Megacharger network, because the reality is the number of charging stations is still very limited. On top of that, the high upfront cost, compared to diesel trucks, could slow adoption among large fleet operators, even though the long-term benefits in fuel savings and zero emissions are obvious. That said, Tesla does have an advantage from its experience successfully ramping up production with the Model 3Y and the Cybertruck. If they can get through the early phase, that 50,000 units per year target could become much more realistic in the 2028 to 2030 timeframe, and it could play a meaningful role in reducing carbon emissions across the logistics industry. Elon Musk's ultimate goal is to turn this Class 8 truck into a fully autonomous vehicle that can operate 24/7 without a driver in the cabin. In theory, that's an incredibly attractive idea for fleet owners. A self-driving semi could cut about $1 per mile in costs. That's currently spent on driver wages and benefits, while eliminating hours of service restrictions and significantly reducing accidents caused by human error. Profit margins in the logistics industry could jump, and consumer goods prices might even come down thanks to lower transportation costs. That said, we think a lot of people won't like this. Some may strongly oppose it. First and foremost are the millions of professional truck drivers in the US and around the world. For them, a self-driving semi isn't just technology. It's a direct threat to their livelihoods and their families' financial security. A large-scale wave of job losses in the transportation sector could lead to serious social instability. On top of that, the public and lawmakers are likely to remain highly skeptical about safety. The idea of a Class 8 truck speeding down the highway with no human in control is still pretty unsettling on a psychological level. Concerns about unexpected software failures potentially leading to catastrophic accidents will probably be the biggest legal and social hurdles the Tesla Semi has to overcome, no matter how good its design is. That said, if it ever proves to be completely safe and Tesla can truly stand behind that, it would absolutely become a money machine, as Elon Musk likes to call it. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. What do you think about the Tesla Semi? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.